Hello and welcome to the UCLA Mildred E. Mathias Botanical Garden. This garden was started in 1929 and it is an amazing living museum with plants from all over the entire world. What is a botanical garden? Well, botanical gardens highlight the importance of plants in our lives. We utilize plants for food, the air we breathe, medicine, materials. They inspire us with their beauty and so much more. And here at the garden, we're an outdoor classroom, as you're going to experience today. We're also a beautiful place where the community can come and connect with nature. And we're a living laboratory where researchers from UCLA come to make sense and wonder about plants and ecosystems and how they all relate to each other in this world. So let's go on an adventure. We're going to do some exploring today. But first we're going to get started by talking about what is a scientist and what does a scientist do?
We're out here in the botanical garden where we will practice being scientists by getting curious, using our senses to make observations, and wondering why plants have unique adaptations to survive in different ecosystems. I've got my notebook, pencil, and magnifying lens so I can make observations as we explore. Use your paper to draw what you see, take notes, and write down questions. Today we'll be using the word adapt and adaptation. To adapt means to adjust to new conditions. We adapt all the time. The adaptations we're talking about today took place over longer periods and are changes to plants that help them become better able to survive in their environment. When we think about what a plant needs to survive, we have to consider that plants live outdoors, and they mostly stay rooted in one place throughout their lives. Let's compare what you and I need to survive to what a plant needs to survive. You and I need food, water, and shelter. Plants also need food. They get it in the form of sunlight and nutrients in the soil. Plants also need water. They get it in the form of rain or irrigation. And plants need something similar to shelter. They need space to grow and protection from hungry animals and other threats. The amount of water and sunlight available to plants can be very different in different parts of the world, so plants have adapted special traits to protect themselves and meet their needs. Do you think plants in the desert have the same needs as plants in the tropical rainforest? Well, let's explore and learn more. First stop, Southern California. Take a look around at all of the beautiful plants and animals here in the California Native Plants Garden. Here in Los Angeles, we experience cool, wet, rainy winters and hot, sunny, dry summers. This long-term weather pattern is called a Mediterranean climate. Can we all say that together? Ready? Mediterranean climate. Excellent work. This Mediterranean climate makes surviving the summer a challenge for plants, but they have developed some amazing adaptations to survive here. Some plants, like the bright orange California poppies and other wildflowers, only come out after the winter rains. They make seeds and then avoid the hottest parts of the year. By keeping a nature notebook, you can track which plants you see at different times of the year and get to know their cycles better. Other plants have special leaves that protect them from intense sunshine and make sure they don't lose too much water. Let's use our eyes to observe the colors of the plants here. What do you notice? How would you describe these colors? The leaves of many of the plants here are not so vibrant green. They instead are a gray, bluish, white color. This color is like a natural sunscreen that reflects extra sunshine away from the leaf so that it doesn't burn. Let's use our magnifying lens to take a closer look. If we look really closely, some of these leaves also have small hairs that help reflect sun away from the leaf and protect it from drying out. Let's also use our nose to sense these plants. So to smell these plants, we'll have to use our imagination through the computers. This California sagebrush and white sage are both savory and smell very strongly. Many California native plants have chemicals inside them that taste bad to insects and naturally protect them from being eaten. Here in the California Native Plants Garden, we learned about leaf adaptations to protect plants in the Mediterranean climate of Los Angeles. Now let's hike to an even hotter and drier ecosystem. Can you guess what it's called? Yes, the desert. Let's go. Deserts are found throughout the world and are very harsh ecosystems that experience extreme heat in the daytime, cold in the nighttime, and receive very little rain. Death Valley in the Mojave Desert of California is one of the hottest places on the entire Earth. Amazingly, some plants have still found ways to survive in deserts. Do you notice any similarities amongst how the plants look here? We'll take a closer look at two adaptations observed in many desert plants: being succulent and having protective armature. Succulents are plants that store water in their thick leaves or stems. The word succos means juicy in Latin and describes how they can store water for drought times. Aloes, cacti, and many other plants here are types of succulents. We generally don't remove leaves of the plants because they need them to live, but for this science experiment, I have cut out a piece as a demonstration so we can observe the inside of this plant. Notice how juicy it is. It's wet and squishy and slimy feeling. Have you ever used aloe on a sunburn? This juicy plant also has healing and moisturizing properties. Let's take a look at the other adaptation I mentioned, having armature. Because water and food is so scarce in the desert, animals are always trying to find it. But how can plants protect themselves from animals that want to eat them? Well, in California, we looked at a chemical defense. Here we're going to notice a physical defense. So when a predator approaches, can a plant run? No. Can a plant hide? No. So plants need special ways to protect themselves, and armature is sometimes called spines or thorns. They're very sharp ways that plants keep animals, including us humans, away from them. So we'll take a few moments to observe some of these very, very sharp plants. What do you see? What are you curious to know more about them? This is an Aloaudia from Madagascar, and it has spines to keep animals away from its juicy leaves full of precious water. Only a few species of lemurs have learned how to carefully climb these plants to get to the leaves at the very top. It's getting pretty hot, and we have more to explore. Should we hike to a very different ecosystem? All right, let's all stand up and walk in place as we head to the tropical rainforest. Take a look around you. What do you notice is different or unique about this environment? If we look up, there are tall trees above us forming a canopy of shade. The plants are more of a vibrant green color than the orange, gray, and bluish colors we observed in California native plants and in the desert. It's also much wetter here. It's very humid and moist. We find ourselves in a tropical rainforest ecosystem. Tropical rainforests are some of the most biodiverse places on Earth, meaning that many different species of plants and animals live here. In tropical rainforests, there's a lot of water available to plants, but little sunlight because of the shade from all the tall trees. To survive here, plants have adapted special leaves and ways of growing. Let's take a closer look. What do you notice about the size of the leaves here in contrast to the ones we looked at earlier? Are they larger, the same size, smaller? The leaves here are much larger and they're more of a dark, vibrant green. Why do you think they're like this? Well, down here on the shaded forest floor, they don't have to worry about getting burned by the sun or losing too much water. So they're able to be large so they can absorb as much sunlight as possible. We can think of them like big solar panels collecting energy for the plant. If we take a look through here, we also can observe a vining plant, Monstera deliciosa, that is climbing up towards the sun without having to invest the time and energy in being a slow-growing tree. This shortcut has made them very successful. There are over 2,500 species of vines that live in tropical rainforests. They don't have to worry about the shade as much because they're reaching up towards the sunlight. Some plants here have even adapted to live without being rooted in much soil at all. These are called epiphytes, and they make their home on the branches and trunks of trees, collecting water and nutrients from the air and dead leaves that fall on them. Some examples of these are certain types of ferns, orchids, and bromeliads. Adaptations are not always unique to one type of ecosystem. Good design replicates itself. An adaptation similar to what we saw in the desert can be observed on this fern tree. Spines are helping protect it from animals. What else do you wonder about these plants? Write it down. If we use our ears to listen carefully, do you hear water? We are very close to the stream that runs through the garden. Perhaps we should go and see if there are any animals over there. While we look and try to observe animals in the garden, let's all take 10 deep, slow breaths. While making observations, sometimes it's very important to be quiet, to be still, so that we can observe the natural world around us without disturbing it. Do you see any creatures? What do you wonder about them? You all are great scientists, and I can hardly wait to hear about your questions and ideas. Today we traveled around the world to see plants from the Mediterranean climate in California, deserts, and even tropical rainforests. As we noted in the beginning, plants are important for so many reasons. They provide us with food, medicine, the air we breathe, materials, shelter, beauty, inspiration, and so much more in our lives. They provide habitat for the many animals that call the garden home, like birds, butterflies, and turtles. It's important to be grateful for them and notice them in our lives. I hope you enjoyed using your senses to observe the natural world around you and to explore some of the amazing adaptations that help plants survive in different types of environments. Let's come back together as a group, and a garden educator will answer your questions about plants and the botanical garden. And then we'll do some activities to continue being scientists, making observations, and using our nature journals to document what we see, think, and wonder.